Hello and welcome to video number 3 in the Prompt Wizard series. That's a series where anyone, including people with absolutely zero tech background, will see and learn how to build web apps. And we're going to do it using the most simple terms. I'm going to explain every single step and term. Nothing will be left untouched. So even if you're technical, you will still learn a whole bunch of things. The problem we're solving together in this series is the problem of coding with AI can get expensive. So you probably heard about Lovable or Base 44, two very famous tools that help anyone create web apps. You just vibe code your ideas. The problem is that it's easy to get started. You start falling in love with your idea, but it gets expensive very, very, very fast. And we're going to solve that by building a prompt wizard, which is something I've been using personally and also at Meta for a long while. And by the way, I'm Jeremy Gage. I'm a product manager at Meta. I've been there for 4.5 years. Been a product manager for a while. And my internal side gig is teaching AI coding and productivity. All right, let's get back to it. So here we are. First video was about creating the project brief, planning it. So we ended up with that doc that describes what we're trying to do and why and how. Here, I explained which tools we're going to use to solve that problem. And we're now here where I'm going to stop blabbering and start building. One thing I did since the last video is installing Claude Code on my laptop. Okay, if you don't remember, Claude Code is this one over here. It's going to be the AI engineer who's going to build the code for us. Very simple to install. It looks a bit scary, but honestly, it's not. And also, all I did is come to Claude Code. So again, now we have a plan, and I covered in the last video. You're going to need a plan. And again, if you didn't see the last video, we're not going to pay for any of these tools, but we will pay for Claude Code, because I'm willing to pay at the beginning of the project to create the code, but my premise is that I don't want to keep paying to maintain the project because I'm a busy parent and I don't have time to move fast on my projects. So I want them to live forever without me paying a monthly subscription. All right, where were we? Here. Okay, so the one thing I did is to install Claude Code and get a plan. Now, if you don't know how, it's very simple. So download the Claude app. It's like ChatGPT, just another one, and you can very simply say, I want to install Claude Code, including the browser extension, but I'm really not technical and I'm using a Mac. Tell me how to do it. Great. Now you noticed I sneaked in here the browser extension thing. I didn't cover in the previous video. One more piece that we're adding, you're going to see that little icon over here. This is going to be the key to making everything work seamlessly and automatically. This is going to allow the coding agent, so Claude Code, our engineer, to use our browser and use it as if it was us. It's great because it can go and configure stuff without needing us to do it, right? So in the previous way of doing coding with AI, Claude would write, hey, now go to that website, go to settings, find that number. Now I can just tell it, you go do it. All right. Okay. So you'll see you're going to get all the instructions and it's very easy. Okay. So don't be too scared about it. Awesome. Okay. So let me zoom out. Where do we even begin? It's a good question. So we have our brief. Now let's create a project folder, right? We're going to create some code here using Claude, and we're going to do it on our computer. So we need a folder. So I have a folder which I'm going to call YouTube projects, and now let's create the folder where I'm actually going to create the specific project here. Prompt wizard. Great. Next step, I should probably zoom in. Yeah. Next step is going to be right click, and again, I warned in the first two video, Claude Code looks scary, as you're going to see. It's not. Okay, so I'm going to let you a moment to have a mini panic attack, and then we're going to continue video. So right click, new terminal, add folder. Now what's a terminal? That's this ugly and really scary black box. I'll give you a second. Okay, now that the panic attack is over. A terminal is a way to tell the computer to do things. Very simple. That's where Claude Code lives. Now, let me zoom in so you can see a bit better. Great. Okay. We're gonna summon Claude Code, and I'm gonna use a trick. So you could just say Claude, and it's gonna launch Claude Code. You're gonna see it's gonna launch, it's gonna be nice. There it is. I can already say, hey, start coding. Two problems. If I go that way, it's going to ask me for permission for every tiny step it's doing. And I don't want to be staring at that screen. I want it to just go and do it. So we need to add a new, we essentially need to tell it when we launch it, hey, do what you need to do. Don't ask me, just do it. Second, we need to tell it, hey, you can use that Chrome extension. Very simple. So I'm going to close it and start over. Right click, terminal out folder. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. Okay. Now I already have that one saved here. And I use it so much that I actually created a text replacement. So if I do CCC, you're going to see it's going to change to that. That's just a really advanced tip. I use it for a whole bunch of things. And if you're on Mac OS, you can set text replacements and have your own little shortcuts that get replaced. Anyways, so this is a command. You don't need to, again, it looks scary. It's not. I'm going to add that command in the bottom. Just one warning. With this, it can do whatever it wants. So make sure you ask well-defined things and keep an eye on it as we're going to do together. Okay, now I'm going to launch it. All right. Now, I'm going to take my prompt. Sorry. I'm going to take my prompt and select everything. Copy. I'm going to go back to Claude. Okay. I pasted it. There's a whole bunch of text. And I'm going to add something here. I'm going to tell Claude Code I'm non-technical. I need it to set up everything on its own using the Chrome extension, because while it's there and I enabled it, it doesn't always know to use it unless I'm telling it. So here's what we're going to say. I am completely non-technical, and for that reason, I enabled the Chrome extension. I also made sure to already be logged in and create accounts on Vercel, Supabase, and GitHub, so you can go ahead and set up all the projects on your own and all the settings. Before you start coding, let me know if you have questions for me. There we go. Okay, so essentially what did we do here? We gave all that to Claude Code. It's essentially the whole definition of the project. I said, here's what tools we're going to use. And I said, hey, I essentially have no idea what I'm doing technically, so you go do your thing. I'm here if you have any questions. Let's start. Press enter. Hold on, let me zoom out, make it a bit more dramatic. Let's press enter. There. And now it's going to start thinking. Okay, it has a clear picture of the prompt wizard. But before I start setting everything up, here's a few questions. Okay. Now look at that. This is pretty cool. Again, it's ugly. I agree. It's like we're in the age of AI and SpaceX, and the most advanced AI tool is looking like it's out of a 80s movie on hackers. I agree. But again, in the end, it's text. It's easy. It looks scary and annoying, but it works. Okay. First question. Should users need to sign up or log in to use the prompt wizard so their prompts and and progress are saved across sessions. Okay, let's think about it. That's a great question. Okay, yes, and again, and here, so that's gonna be a cool part. I'm gonna give you a glimpse into my way of thinking as a product manager. Everything here is likely going to be a product decision. So let's go through the thought process together. Is it zoomed in? Okay, now it's gonna be zoomed in. All right. Okay, option number 1. Yes, require login. Users create an account. Their prompt and XP levels persist across devices and sessions. Okay, trade-off. The good thing is that users get all this stuff saved. That's good. I have an idea of who's using it. I have a way in the future, or I guess reaching to people that might be good for some reason. But the trade-off is too big. The negative part is that people will not be able to even see or use the app before logging in. That's a huge friction point. And I have to assume that anyone reaching the front page is like giving me a grace of 3 seconds to show me what the hell is it about, or they're getting out of there, right? Because I'm not a mega celebrity. That tool is at the beginning, no one's going to know about it. So people are just going to say, okay, let's check this out. Let's see what this is about. If they see a logging screen, they're going to say, okay, you know what? Screw that. So no to number 1. No login needed. The tool works instantly with no sign up. Prompts and XP are stored in the browser. Local storage. So here, local storage is essentially a way to say that anything you do, any progress in your app is saved on your laptop, right? And the browser is going to know whenever you go to that website, okay, so that's the progress. The problem is it doesn't last long. And if you change laptops, if you go from another, I don't know, you have a phone, and then you want to continue from home, that's not going to work. So it's also not a good option. Also, I do want the option to have an account, because an account is going to allow me to save more elaborate data, progress. You know, we can take in. I don't want to restrict the project in the beginning. Optional login. Anyone can use it immediately, but they can optionally sign in to save their data to the cloud. Let's think about it. So on one end, it's good, but because people can store it. On the other end, if it's already saved in local storage, which is risky, people have no reason to sign in to save their data to the cloud. I think what I'm going to do is go with that option, and I'm going to later on add a set of warnings that, hey, that's going to persist for just, your data is just going to be saved for 24 hours. Create an account to do it. So you know what, I'm even going to say it. Let's go with the optional login option, but I want it to be clear for users who are not creating an account that their prompt will be saved only for 24 hours, and that it's recommended to create an account to make sure it's always saved and not lose their progress. Awesome. Okay, save prompts. Should user, and I see there's like a set of, there's a progress here with questions, which is really awesome. Should users be able to save multiple prompts like a library of project, or is it a single use tool where they build one prompt at a time? Let's see, option number 1, prompt library, users can save, name, and revisit multiple prompts. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why restrict. There's no positive to it. I could also chat about it and say why even go with a single prompt, but I'm pretty confident that I do want a prompt library. What should be the GitHub repository and project be called? Okay, so GitHub repository. So if you remember, let's go back to here. GitHub is that one. That's where the code lives. Let me zoom out. That's where the code lives. Okay, I already have an account here. So essentially it's asking me how should that project called here? Let's answer. Okay. Should the GitHub report, so prompt wizard. Yeah, I agree with that. It's simple, descriptive, prompt wizard without hyphen, a bit hard to read. Let's go with prompt wizard. Great. Do you have a custom domain you want to use, or is the default Vercel URL fine for now? So like I mentioned earlier, Vercel is where the website is going to live. The app is going to live. I'm going to get a URL. So it's asking me, hey, do you want to keep it there? In which case you're going to get a URL that looks like promptwizard.vercel.app. Or do I have an actual domain? A domain is my .com, promptwizard.com, which I'll check later. Right now I'm going to go with the default URL. I just want to get going. As we go in the project, I'm going to get a domain just so it looks better. Domains are really cheap. Let's go with the default. Okay, now we're going to review our answers. Should user, okay, answered everything. Awesome. Submit. You can see here, submit answers. Boom. Now, in theory, the only thing Claude Code is going to ask me now is permission to go to those specific websites that I mentioned. And then, because there's a big security aspect to letting an AI access your browser, one of the ways of protecting the user from that, like us, the Claude users, is to make sure we're allowing each site individually. So I'm going to stick around now to make sure I'm giving it permission. And you know what? Let's get it out of the way. I want to step away from the laptop and make sure you have everything without needing me. Can you first check that you have access to both GitHub, Supabase, Vercel, well, that's all of them, in the Chrome extension? Okay. In the Chrome, let me zoom in the Chrome extension. So here's an interesting thing about Claude Code. It's already working. So what happens when I send a prompt, a new prompt? What it's going to do is pause for a second, read what I just sent. It will try to understand, hey, is it a comment on what I'm currently doing? Meaning, should I stop what I'm doing and look at it differently? Should I pause and do something else? Should I just answer a question? So that's what it's going to do. So here in theory, it should pause what it's doing, go check that it has access, and then continue. I guess it first has to finish the current specific task it is doing. So let's wait for a minute and I'll fast forward this part. Okay, so it responded to me and said, let me write the plan file and verify browser access to all three services in parallel. Awesome. So what it's doing right now is finishing a plan. So I described something quite big, quite complex. So it's starting to plan all its steps, because the way it's going to work in the background is there's going to be a plan file, step by step. For example, step 1, configure Vercel. Step 2, configure Supabase. And it's going to go one by one. That way, you can see, you see what happened in the background? It already moved to Vercel. I personally already enabled it in the past. Oh, and then we're getting this dialog. Great. So I already see that we have Vercel open and it moved there on its own, meaning Claude Code already had access to it, but it did not have access to GitHub. All right. So right here, I'm going to say always allow actions on this site. If I only select allow this action, then I'm going to still see a lot of these dialogues, which I don't want. All right. Okay, it checked GitHub. I know it checked Vercel already before. Now it's going to check Supabase. Great. Let me see if I can show you where it's actually going. There. Is it this one? Not even sure. The way it works, it creates a new group, like a tab group, and it's opening tab. So it's gonna already see that I'm logged in Supabase, and it's checking all the details that I have. So it's pretty cool. Let me just find, which one is it using? I guess it is this one. Or is it this one? Is it checking Supabase now? Yes, I think it's in Supabase. No, Vercel. Okay. Great. Let's have a look. I'll find the tabs later. Okay, now that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at what we have. All three services are confirmed. Also notice you have existing projects that are related. So look how smart that is. All right, and that's true because I already played around the prompt wizard on my own. So in GitHub, we have the accounts, we have the Supabase, we have Vercel, we're logged in browser. Amazing, great. I have everything I need to work independently. One thing I want to clarify with you before you step away. Existing projects. I see existing prompt wizard playground projects on GitHub, Supabase, and Vercel. Should I start completely fresh with new projects or build on top of the existing ones? So we're going to start completely fresh. Okay, this is a completely new project. As you saw in the previous videos, we started from a completely blank slate. Start fresh. Okay, you can safely step away. Actually, can I? Let's see. So it told me that I can safely step away, but essentially what it meant is, okay, you can step away. Once you approve the plan, I'll handle the infrastructure setup and coding autonomously. Great. Then what it did is take everything I told it, all including the questions we answered together, and it built a plan. So there's a full plan here. You should always read it in detail. I'm glimpsing through it. You don't have to understand all of it. You can skip the parts you don't understand. And let's go with it. All right. Yes, clear context and by pipelines. Okay, what this actually means essentially is, hey, can I start option one, clear context. So there's a concept. Let me zoom out for a second. One big concept to understand with AI, it's that it has a thing called context window. It's like our working memory. There's a limit to how much we can remember when we're working on something. Same for AI. It can remember a certain amount of information and work with it. That's called the context window. The more it's filled, the worse it's going to start performing because it has less working memory. That's it in a sense. So that's the first one. Clear context. And bypass permissions essentially means, yes, I gave you permissions to do everything you need. Just do it. Don't ask me questions. Go work. Yes, that's what I need. Okay, so now it's just going to work. It's writing all the phases. First, setting up the infrastructure, all the tools we set up. It's going to start integrating them. It's going to build the visuals, like the design. Then it's going to build the prompt, the form. Then it's going to add the additional layers on it, the gamification, storing, so persistence, another way of storing, and the auth. Again, looks really ugly, I agree, but who cares? I understand what it's saying me. If I don't, I can ask that one here. So that's the way to do it, right? You work with the agent and the code terminal in parallel. All right, let me see in the meantime if I can find where were the tabs it actually worked with. Was it this one? I don't know. Anyways, we'll see it soon enough because it's going to start configuring things directly there. So let's see how long it takes. I'm going to leave that open so we can see the terminal, and we're going to see in the background if things are happening. And I'll fast forward this part, so it's not going to be tedious to watch that. Okay, notice in the back how it's opening a new tab on its own. So it's managing everything. Let's see what it's doing. Oh wow, it's already building the last phase, the gamification. Yeah, it's debugging. Let's let it work. Okay, we got another request. That should have asked me that ahead of time. But yes, this website is essentially a local testing site. So we can say yes, go for it. That's pretty cool. We can already see the first take on it. We can see Claude is active in this tab group. Great. For now, I'm not touching. It's still working, validating. I am doing my thing in the meantime. Okay, it's pretty cool. As you can see in the background, it's testing it on its own. See, it's building a prompt. It's seeing that the gamification is working and saved, etc. So it's really, really cool. Right now, I'm going to let it work, and I'll continue multitasking. All right. Claude wants to navigate to database.new. Let's see what this one is. It's a shortcut for Supabase. Great. Knock yourself out, Claude. And that's pretty cool. It's going to actually go and configure the whole thing on its own. Something that would take me a long time. It's very tedious. You need very specific fields configured and project ID and all kinds of stuff that's really annoying to find, but I don't need to. All right, I have a question here. There's a question for me. Let's zoom in. Should I click create new project on Supabase to create the prompt wizard database? Yes, I don't know why it's asking me that, so let's very simply say yes, create it. I guess for really high sensitive stuff like that, it'd rather ask, which is a good thing. Let me move that a little bit. You can see it's just going on, it's just configuring everything. I'm not doing anything. All right, so Claude needs us for one more thing. Let me move over here and zoom in. Should I commit all files and push to GitHub? All right, I know what that means. A lot of people don't. So I'm going to pretend I have no idea what Claude is talking about. So let's chat about this, right? The point is, don't be scared of Claude. Just if you don't understand, it's there to explain. So let's chat about this. And here, I'm gonna wait for it to tell me what it wants. Or I can very simply say, you just ask me for something about GitHub, but I'm absolutely non-technical. I have no idea what you told me. Can you explain again and ask me the question in simple terms? Okay. Sorry about that. Let me explain in plain terms. Right now, all the code I've built for Prompt Wizard only exists on your computer. I need to upload it to the internet so we can back it up safely, put it up online. Great. That's awesome. That's essentially what I explained earlier in the video, and it did it much better than me. So can I upload your app's code to the internet so we can back it up and make it live? Yes. Now it's talking human language. Let's let it run again. All right, code is backed up to GitHub. Now let me set up Vercel to make the app live. Let me use the Vercel tab that's already open. Go for it. Let's see what other tabs we have open. Okay, so I can see here, that's a leftover. So whenever you see localhost 300, like a number, it's essentially the your app living on your computer. So only you, so you can't share that URL because it's local to your computer. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So I can start having a look. Okay. Nice. It took what I said quite literally. Your work is saved locally, expires. Amazing. So this is a nice mix of providing value, not having friction, but creating an incentive to create an account. All right, so things are displayed a bit small in my opinion. If I zoom out, you'll see it's a bit hard to read. We'll take care of it. All right, so we have the product title, the short description, design language, UI elements, user flows, user inputs. Great. You can already see here at the bottom, task flow and AI power. Okay, untitled prompt. Let's see what happens if I change it to ultra prompt. There it is. All right. I'm getting excited, but I'm going to wait patiently until Claude Code tells me it's completely done. And in the meantime, I'll do other stuff on another computer. Okay, big news. Let's see. All right. Prompt Wizard is live. Your app is online at Prompt Wizard jet.vercel.app. I'll try it in a second. Let's see what was built. The prompt builder, the leveling system, the retro theme, the auth system, anonymous mode, prompt library, copy to keyboard, level up animation. Okay, well, let's test it. That's pretty exciting. Okay, let me zoom in. There we go. It worked. So you see, we're going to test it, but I already know it's going to mostly work, if not perfectly work, except for a few quirks I'm going to change. But this is already quite incredible. You've seen I didn't use any technical term. I told Claude, just go do it on your own. If it asks me something that I don't understand, I'm just saying quite honestly and transparently, I have no idea what you're talking about. Talk to me like a human. And it helped me make the right decision. Let's see. Okay, so we have our prompt. Let's do a quick test. Design library. Okay, so that's going to be... So I'm going to go with a super quick test prompt to see how it goes. The idea here is to have a library of designs for vibe coded app. Vibe coding design library. This is a library to help vibe coders have ready-made designs to select from for their new projects. A modern, clean, bright design language with pastel corners. I'm just making things up. UI elements. There should be a grid of all the available design libraries with a search bar on the top and above it the title of the app. User flow. Users can load the app and see existing design libraries, and they can also search for specific design language or specific applications, and it will get filtered out live. All right, level up. Amazing. We got some XP right here. Code Whisperer. All right, let's see. We have the generated prompt. Let's test the copy functionality. Okay, it works. Amazing. Next, let's see if it will level up. I'm just going to keep pasting the same stuff I had before. So it will level up here up to 200. Yeah, I'm going to change that. I don't want to cap the XP for each. XP is a gaming term. Experience points. That's how you level up. Okay, now I want to see if I can actually log in. Sign up. I want to sign up with Google. And yes, in order to make an app work with Google, we need to do some extra work. So for example, okay, let's say that it happened, but I have no knowledge of what it is. Let's just copy it and say, I'm going to go back to Claude and say, I tried to log in with Google, but I got this weird message. Can you explain what's happening? And that's the mode of operation. There's nothing too complex or too technical or too scary. We just ask Claude to help us. And it's going to tell us that we need to do some setup with Google to make it work. Because Google is very protective, and essentially whenever you allow people to log in, they're going to leave their email, and Google wants to make sure that it's secure. Let's see what it does. Okay, you do that. In the meantime, I'll go back here. No, actually, where is it? Was it here? No, was it here? Did I just close it? Let me take the link again. There it is. Okay, so as you see, it's saved. Let me zoom out. It saved my prompt. It's still here, which is great. Now let's try to create a manual account. My name is Jeremy Test, right? Just testing it. I'm going to have my name, Jeremy at test.com. And my password is going to be 123456. Create account. Email is invalid. How does he know that? Let's try my read email. That was quite smart. Okay. I have no idea how he knew that my email was invalid. Cool. Check your email. Ooh, I even have a confirmation email waiting for me. I did not know it could do that. So let me go and check for the confirmation email. Let me zoom out. By the way, I hope it's not too much moving around. Let me know if it is. Okay, confirm your sign up, confirm your email. Let's see what happens. In theory, I could have asked Claude Code to do all that on its own. Just, hey, validate that the email registration is working, go to my Gmail, figure it out on your own. Okay, right now I'm not seeing anything happening. Okay, so that one's not working, which is fine, because we're going to tell Claude to fix it. So first, let's see what is it up to. Now it's trying to figure out the Google authentication, or essentially allowing users to authenticate with Google. And there we go. There, exactly. It's going to tell us that it needs to go to the Google console, etc., etc. It's going to go and try to configure it by its own. I will let it, but I don't want to do it now. I will allow it because it's going to continue later, because I do want to wrap up this part, because that's going to be part of the next steps. Cool. So let's have a look at a final product. So we have a working app that we started not that long ago. In total time, I think it might have been half hour, maybe less of work for me, including all the setup. And then Claude just went about and fixed it and made it happen, which is really awesome. For the next step, so that's really the first MVP. So first of all, it works, right? That URL is working. Anyone can use it. It works already locally, even without the account. And now we can document the next things that we want to do. So we can have a new doc and say, actually, I can go to the other one. Prompt wizard. No, I had another window. Yeah, here. Okay, so this one was the brief, product brief, and this is going to be things to improve. Things to, let me zoom, improve. Okay, that's going to be our backlog. Let me rename that. Great. Let's add checklist. Cool. Number 1. Make the Google sign-in work. The form is too small. I can barely read the text. The email confirmation is not working. Awesome. I think these are the main things to fix the first steps of the app. Where did you go? Where was it? I still have it here. Yeah. Yeah. And for the rest, I still need to test. But essentially, that's it. We have our first MVP. It is completely working. And the next video is going to be all about improving it. So I hope you learned, and see you in the next video.